The background of this video right now is a compilation of all the times Ned from the Try Guys said how much he loved his wife. A big thing about his online personality was that he loved her and mentioned her all the time. So, on September 27th, 2022, when it was out that Ned had cheated on his wife, lots of people went insane. I'm included in people, by the way. Honestly, the drama and timeline and everything about his cheating doesn't matter. All that does is, yeah, it was confirmed. But no, I'm not here to talk about all the details and evidence. I'm here because this seems to be happening a lot. Entertainers are betraying their personalities by directly contradicting them in real life. And this whole situation acts as a launchpad for an interesting but also kind of sad question. Can we trust anyone anymore? If you're asking me, no. But not because everyone's a horrible person. That's just the nature of being online. No one is completely authentic on the internet. You can't be. When a camera is on your face or you're behind a screen, it feels almost instinctual to put your best, or worst too, I guess, side forward. These are going to become snippets that stick around forever, so it's fairly natural to want to make those immortal posts or pictures or videos or whatever's as flattering and good as possible, as close to you and your aesthetic as you can get while still being pleasing to whatever rubric you follow. And when you're an entertainer and your persona is what's putting food on your table, why wouldn't you want that side to be profitable, to be happy, to be in love with your wife? Acted authenticity sells. In a world that's growing more and more disconnected and becoming plastered in ads and individualism, at least in some spheres, we turn to our entertainment to provide comfort, and in this case, that means filling the hole of real, genuine people. I think that's why we love to watch groups of friends play games or hear the human in a singer's voice. It feels organic, real. It gives us what we're missing. I think of Dodie when I say this. She started to grow because she was real, and now she has a career from that. I'm not saying it was malicious and that these types of viewers, aka me, were being fooled in some way. No one's to blame here because this was a natural development and one that we can see in many, many places on the internet. Still, though, it's worth looking at why it's happening, and, at least to me, the main reason is because it's authentic, at least enough. I could talk about this for hours, but I'll leave that point there. It doesn't help that we put these entertainers on a pedestal either. I mean, I remember before the John Mulaney scandal was exposed that people were praising him for his love. There's a specific Tumblr post where someone praises John Mulaney for standing up for his wife on the Netflix show Comedians in Cars, and it's things like that that we use as evidence. And don't get me wrong, again, I'm not blaming anyone here, because I liked this post. I used it as proof too, as reassurance. We look up to these creators, these people who make us laugh and give us joy. Why wouldn't they be good? Why wouldn't they be perfect? We fill in the blanks to paint them as these impossibly unharmful people on and offline. Viewers build a person out of a persona, and when the actual person doesn't match up with that, it's rough, especially when it's such a big juxtaposition like Ned's. And that's unfair to everyone, because they aren't perfect. They're just people. They're human. No one is black and white, no one is wholly good and bad, it's all gray. If your best friend made a dumb mistake or did something bad, you wouldn't necessarily abandon them forever because you understand that they're human and that humans do stupid shit. Why is this different? And I would just like to note something very important here with this idea. I am not talking about when creators are like racist or dangerous here. Some people definitely deserve to be deplatformed. I'm just trying to point out the strange way that creators can become dehumanized through their audiences. That also brings me to a different point. These people are humans. Ned and Ariel have kids, a family. We, in real time, just saw that fall apart. Is that something to trend Twitter about? Is that entertainment? If this hadn't happened to people from YouTube, would it be sadder? More solemn? If this was your cousins, your friends, would you treat this with more respect? I can say that, of course, but it's kind of natural to gossip. If it was my cousin, I'd be heartbroken, but I might talk about it too. But even still, was that sort of talk ever meant to be so big, so public? This all makes me think about tabloids and magazines. I remember as a child seeing them about Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, all the gritty details about their rough marriage and custody battles. That's fucked, right? Why do we need to know that? Just because these people like to sing or play out characters, does that mean that we should get all the information stolen by paparazzis? And yeah, the use of stolen here is biased, but I feel like that's kind of what it is. It's not like all these exposés and private details are consensually given, at least not always. Is that right? All of this talk is leading me to a different question, one a bit too existential for me right now, but I still think it's worth mentioning here. Because with this whole situation, I won't lie, I've watched the videos about this. I've liked the tweets, I've laughed at some of them, and I'm actively adding to all of this right now. And it just makes me wonder, when does the entertainment become separate from the entertainer? Does it ever? I don't know. At the end of the day, this all just feels like a stark reminder. We do not know the people we watch on screens. They are not themselves, merely a side, an extension of themselves. Is that side a lie, better or worse than they are? We don't know, and we can't, not necessarily. Maybe John Mulaney's jokes about loving his wife were true. Maybe Ned really did miss Ariel. But that was just their extension saying that, not them fully. I think the best way to think about all of this is as a school picture. When you take school pictures, you're all dressed up, ready to put your best foot forward. When you take the picture, you're not becoming something else. You're not a character on a stage or an actor. You're still you, just not a whole representation of you, not technically. That's what it's like being online. I will say this, though. When you sit down, no matter how happy, good, bad, excited, genuine, whatever you are, there's one thing for sure. When they tell you to say cheese, that smile is fake. Well, that was a heavy video. Sorry if this was too much or too crazy, but every time these sort of things happen, I can't help but think about all of this. And I want to acknowledge my intent with this video too. This was an opinion piece, not some informational, omniscient look at internet culture. Some of these lines ooze with so much bias and opinions and are so black and white that I almost can't stand them, but I think they're worth keeping to make my point anyways. Which means you may disagree vehemently with what I've said. If you do, please tell me! I want to talk about this, create a dialogue. That's why I made this video. This subject is so expansive and can spiral in so many different directions, it's hard to cover and even hard to comprehend sometimes, which makes it really fun to talk about. Anyways, I'll leave you guys with that, the bullet points and broad strokes. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I'll see you around. Also, did you guys see that Ned tagged his wife in his post confirming he cheated on her? What the fuck?